Hello, everybody.
Hi.
How's everybody doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world. Hello, hello, hello. We're gonna get right into this because I think ERIN has only an hour time, right?
Roughly, yeah. It can go over if needed.
Okay. So what are we gonna do today? We're talking about Andrea Knabel, a young mother of two who went missing August 13, 2019 from Louisville, Kentucky. And with me on screen are ERIN Knabel, that's Andrea's little sister, and Ted LEONARD, that's the private investigator. So if you guys want to just introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay,
Okay.
you can go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ted Leonard. I'm a private investigator. I work for Tracy Leonard with the Locators. We've been on this case since the beginning.
My name's Andrea Knabel. I was the last person to see Andrea, as far as I know, August 13th, 2019. And ever since we realized she's been missing, we've been doing everything we can to find her. So that means raising awareness, and that's what brings me here.
Right. Thank you for being here, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. The reason I wanted to do this is because I was quite shocked last time when I went live. People who were living in the area, like 20 minutes away, they told me, I have never heard of Andrea. So I thought, oh my God, and I know you guys are doing so much with Facebook and with pages and investigation and all that. And I thought, what can I do to help a little bit, right? To bring awareness, to get that case out there, because I think somebody knows something, right?
Yes.
So Andrea, like I said, went missing in 2019 in August. And it was a very, very, in my opinion, mysterious disappearance. Very, very twisted. We hear loads of things, I would say gossip, rumors. And I just want to get the facts out there. And that's why I invited you guys to tell everybody, the facts and what really went on. So, ERIN, if you would just tell us what happened that day.
Okay, so I guess just to kind of set up the situation of what was going on during that time period, Andrea had been evicted from her home. So we all kind of got together and moved all of her stuff out of her house. So can you hear me okay?
I hear you, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Okay, good. So, yeah, so we moved all of Andrea's stuff into my mom's house and into a storage unit. Andrea moved in with her, and she was working on saving up money to get her own place and applying for jobs and things like that. So, anyways, a few weeks after Andrea moved in with my mother, Sarah and Ethan came into town. Sarah is my little sister, the youngest out of us three. and then Ethan is her fiance. So Ethan has his own construction business, and he was there to remodel my mother's bathrooms with the help of my little sister. So they were living there for that time period while they remodeled. My mom, she would come in and like check on things when she got off work and bring them dinner, things like that. But she did not stay the night there because the bathrooms were not working during this time. So anyways, we usually start telling this story in about dinner time on August 12th, 2019. So my mom, Andrea, Sarah, and Ethan were sitting at the dinner table. My mom had brought Chinese food over, and they were having a talk about just Andrea and everything going on in her life. And that was really pretty normal during this time period. And really, that's just what we would do as a family. If we were worried about each other, we were upfront and we talked about it. So I was kind of probably lecturing Andrea a little bit. And was it what she needed to hear? Yes, but it might not have been the best timing, I guess you could say. So it was kind of hurting Andrea's feelings. And I think Andrea probably kind of, came back with a remark that hurt my mom's feelings. So there was a little bit of an argument. And Sarah jumped in and kind of took mom's side and said, Andrea, mom's right. So I guess Andrea kind of felt like she was being ganged up on a little bit. So she went upstairs to her room to cool off and get away from the situation. So during that time, my mom left. And I guess she came back down and they kind of made up after that. Then Ethan took Andrea to McDonald's to eat dinner and then took her to an emergency room. So a part of the conversation they had earlier was that they thought she needed to see a doctor, but what they meant was like a psychiatrist. Instead of her scheduling an appointment like what they wanted, she was like, well, okay, fine, I'll see a doctor right now. I want to go tonight. So she wanted to go for her face though, because she was having a breakout on her face. And I think she was kind of messing with it a little bit too, trying to fix it herself. And I feel like that was probably irritating the situation, but that's the reason why she went to the doctor. And we were not sure what was causing it at that time. We were wanting to go, or my mom was going to appointments with her to kind of help her get things together, make sure she was following the doctor's advice and things like that. So on this occasion, my mom did not go. So anyways, Ethan dropped her off, and the plan was that my mom would give her a gift card for Uber. She would use that in order to get back. So when she left, right, so that no one had to wait for her there. So she had trouble entering the Uber gift card in, so she ended up having to pay for the ride herself. And I'm not sure. Let's see. So what we thought happened was from my understanding of it, because Andrea talked to me that night, was that she got the Uber to my mom's house and then she couldn't get in, so she walked to my house. But my friend who was at my house with me, her name is Michelle, she thought she saw Andrea get out of a car. So I'm not really sure, if my friend saw it, she's going to say it. So I don't doubt that, but I don't know if she was maybe mistaken because it was dark outside. So she either had the Uber take her to my house or she walked to my house. It's one or the other. Anyways, I was sitting on my porch drinking a glass of wine with my friend Michelle, who was there. I was kind of having a stressful day myself. So I was unaware of anything that was happening. I had sat my phone on the kitchen table and my kids were laying on the couch watching a movie. So I was sitting outside. My phone was nowhere near me. And I was sitting there with a glass of wine, and my friend Michelle was standing up. She was smoking a cigarette, and I don't smoke cigarettes. So she was standing up facing me. So she was kind of in a different direction. So that's why we thought maybe it's possible she saw more than me. But anyways, so we were sitting there talking, and I see Andrea walk up, and he said, Erin, I've been trying to call you. What's going on? Yes, Polly?
You want me to eat the strawberry?
You can have the strawberries, yes. Sorry. So, let's see. So she told me, I've been trying to call you and text you. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I went and got my phone and saw that she had been. And she told me that just about the argument that happened earlier that night and how she was having a really bad day. She was upset about her money situation. She said she already, didn't have much money, and then she had to pay for that Uber that when she wasn't expecting that. So she was kind of just complaining about everything going on. So I listened to her vent, and I could just tell that she was very upset and worked up. So I knew that a lot of people had been talking at her that day, and I knew that she really just needed someone to listen. I could just tell by the way things were going. So I really just let her talk. After she was finished telling me, I told her if she wanted to go inside and like wash her face and cool down, she could, because she was kind of hot from walking. It was August. So she did that. And then she sat on the floor in my living room and watched TV quietly, because my place was actually being renovated too. It's a townhome, and it's a fixer upper. So some pipes were being worked on. So my kids were sleeping on the couch in the living room downstairs for that reason. And so she was sitting there on the floor. So I was okay with Andrea coming over to my house. Like I always, like I trust Andrea a lot, but she had been kind of hanging out with a rough crowd lately. And for example, one person that she considered her friend stole all the TVs in her house before she, when she was still living at her house. And she knew that it was her friend because he was the only person that he knew exactly what her schedule would be, that's when she was not planning on being home. So that's how she knew it was a friend. And she had it was one thing after another. I felt like a lot of people were kind of taking advantage of her and lying to her.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's the impression I got from Andrea as well.
Yeah. And like she was having people come over to Mom's house to look at her car that was broken, but the car never got fixed. Mm-hmm. So why were these people concerned with Andrea? They obviously weren't helping her. Right. I feel like they were taking advantage of her situation. We don't know whether it was drugs or it was mental health, but Andrea, she's always been very caring and giving. And I think that combined with her vulnerable state, people kind of saw it as a target. So for that reason, it made me feel, I was very protective of Andrea, and I would try my best to talk to her about things and give her good advice. But I was also protective of my family and myself. I wanted to make sure that none of these bad people would come to my home. So anyways, while Andrea was watching TV, I called and talked to my parents about it. And I just said, like, I worry about going to work the next day. I had to get up early the next morning, and I knew Andrea would be probably staying up late, and I worried that she'd stay at my house the next day while I was at work. And for all I know, everything could get stolen from my house while I was at work, just because of the crowd she was kind of hanging out with. So I was worried about that, worried about, I don't know, getting evicted or something. So my parents both told me just take her home and we'll get her back into the house because she was locked out. So my friend Michelle sat with the kids for a minute. I drove Andrea to my mom's house. I dropped her off and went home. My friend Michelle left, and then I laid down on the couch with my kids, with the upstairs not working at the time. Mm-hmm. So let's see. So then, next thing you know, I'm waking up because there's a knock at my back door. So Andrea was at the door. I talked to her, and she said that she couldn't get in the house. She was really upset. She was crying, and this is one of the hardest things for me to even think about. She was crying, and she was sad that she couldn't get in the house, and she was asking me if she could stay. And I guess I was just still thinking about, being worried and about her situation and her, decisions. So I told her no. I called my dad and talked to him about it, and he told me, like, don't worry, we'll get her in the house. But yeah, to me, it didn't seem, it seemed like any normal day. Like it was normal, if one of us was struggling or, if our family's worried about us, it's normal for us to argue. So my thoughts were, Andrea will just go home and sleep it off, and things will be fine in the morning. And obviously that's not
It
what
was
happened.
like that, wasn't she? Like she was struggling, and then 5 minutes later or a day later, she was fine again, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it was normal.
everything came at once, it seems. You know, losing her house, losing her car,
Yeah.
struggling and all that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but Andrea's the thing with her is she's had, a breakup before where she had to get back on her feet. She's been in low points before, and she always could bounce back from it. When I was going through my divorce, she was the person that, was being positive and kept me going through it. So in my mind, it didn't seem like it was just like she's having a hard time right now. She's going to need some extra help. We'll get her through it, and she'll get back on track, and it'll be great. So
Right.
my thoughts were, it was just, everyone has highs and lows, but
Yeah. And she was
never-
also a volunteer for Missing in America, right? She was
Right.
searching for missing people. So this is just how her whole character was, basically, always others first.
Yeah, and I feel like she was caring and to a fault, especially towards the end of her being here with us.
Mhm.
Her volunteer work is actually how she met Ted and Tracy. Well, Ted, did you actually meet Andrea or no?
No, I've never had the pleasure of meeting Andrea.
So,
Tracy,
Ted, yeah.
yeah,
Or sorry,
yeah,
Tracy.
yeah, Tracy
Yeah,
did.
Tracy met Andrea through Missing in America and her volunteer work.
Right.
Yes. Actually, Andrea helped Tracy on a few little cases, and actually helped bring a missing young lady home. So
Awesome. Wow.
so
So
yeah.
there are a few timelines out there. I checked today a little bit. And I'm gonna just share my screen with you real quick, because
Okay.
I want to know if that timeline is still the timeline that's supposed to be. It's this one. Is that still accurate?
This one, it's hard to read the edits on it.
Oh, this
But
is what I just put for me to remember things.
the times
Like,
are correct. Yeah.
the times are correct. Okay.
Yeah. From what I can see, yes.
Yes,
Right.
they look correct.
So this is Andrea's car.
Yeah, a lot of people get confused about what happened with her car situation. So this, what happened here, this is what Andrea told me about, is that the winter of like 2018/19, it was probably early 2019 actually. Her car broke down, like it stalled on the side of the road, and the weather was really bad. This happened on the expressway. So instead of her getting it towed that very night, like calling AAA and everything, she left it there overnight, and her plan was to go back and take care of it in the morning. Well, my family was really upset about this, just because I have roadside assistance where you don't even have to be there in order to get your car towed. I would have easily, if she would have told me about this, I would have helped her with it. So would anyone else in our family. But I feel like she got bad advice from someone who told her just to leave it.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't contact anyone in the family. And so what ended up happening is someone else came around, slid on some ice, and hit her car, and so it totaled the car.
Oh,
Yeah, and I remember Nancy told her she should get a GoFundMe set up so that she could buy a new car, and I feel like that's a terrible act.
Nancy's her friend, right?
Yeah, and I don't know. In my opinion, you should go to your loved ones first when you need help. You should go to your support system. Like, that's another thing that we could have all came together and helped her with. But she was going by her friend's advice again and set up this GoFundMe, and she got a lot of backlash. A lot of people were making fun of her and telling her telling her she was bad for making a GoFundMe. So I looked back over her social media and saw that, and it just broke my heart just thinking about all the time she's helped other people. And then seeing, other people's response, when Andrea needed help, she just got a lot of terrible comments. So that was really hard for me to see all this. Then Andrea, a month maybe, or a couple months later, she bought another car. And shortly after she bought that car, it broke down. And it sat in my mother's driveway for at least, I think, over a year after she went missing.
Yeah. People also say that when Andrea got back to her mom's house and when she left your house, people were saying, or I heard, that she slept in the car or got into her car.
It's thought that she could have done that. This is speculation. And the reason why we thought that is because this is actually something that my family thought was a possibility. We don't know for sure though. It's because she's done that other times, with it being the summertime, really nice weather. I think she got into an argument with mom a different day and decided to sleep in her car. Just out of stubbornness. That's kind of who Andrea is. And I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit stubborn myself. So, it's just one of those things. But yeah, there were a lot of arguments happening around that time. I felt like Andrea was trusting people that didn't really care about her, and the people that would do absolutely anything for her. Like, because she kind of wasn't really, for some reason, she just didn't think that we really cared when we did. And so it caused a lot of arguments. We felt like she was just getting bad advice and just over and over again following that bad advice over what we would do.
Yeah, when you're in a circle of bad people, I mean, do you really listen to your mom or your sister? Probably not.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Are they gonna help me? Until something happens, like that situation with her car. Nobody helped her. Got laughed at. I mean, yeah. I have so this is the area you were living back then, right?
can you zoom in a little bit?
That's Fincastle Road.
Yes.
So, and I was looking on, what is this park called? Is that Audubon Park?
Yeah, Audubon Park is a neighborhood that we live in, or that my mom lives in, sorry.
Right. So she basically went from your house or your area. Do you think she would have crossed the park, or would she have walked around?
We have the exact path that she took because of her Google dashboard. It tracked her phone that night, so we know that she actually. This map is correct, but the blue path is not the path that she took. So
Okay.
see how the starting at 4,000 Fincastle, the line goes straight for a bit and then it kind of goes to the right. Right where it goes right, instead of that way, she took a left right there. There's a walking bridge that
Right
she
here?
crossed. A little bit, no. A little bit further up. See how it kind of goes right? The blue line.
Yeah.
So yeah, instead of taking a right, right there. Instead of taking a right there, she took a left.
So she walked this way.
Right. That's correct. So she went, it was Fincastle, then she crossed over the walking bridge to, let's see, Curlew, Crossbill, and then Chickadee. That's this path that she took.
Okay.
If you zoom in, you might be able to see.
Yeah, when I zoom later in on Google Earth, then I see it better. So in this area, there's a bridge, and she walked basically straight down here.
Yes.
So you guys have her Google, was her phone ever found?
No.
So So you got all the data relevant to her movements from her laptop, or where do you got that data from?
Yes, we collected the data from where she had left her Google open, and that's how we tracked it through her through the laptop.
Oh, brilliant. Because data in general, that tells you a lot, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
absolutely. So, and I found something interesting today. I mean, I knew that her phone was still active. What happened between 1:54 and 3:53? Do we know that? Is that public,
Ted, I'll
or?
let you take that.
Well, I would have to talk to Tracy exactly about exactly what happened, but at that time, I think she had made a couple phone calls here and there, but I think it went back off. I think it went back off and then pinged again at what, 6:31? Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, and then went right back off again. So I can't give you that definite answer on that, but I know at 6:31 it pinged and then went right back off again.
Okay, so
Yeah.
she arrived back at her mom's house at
Yes.
1:54.
Yes.
Then her phone was on and off until 3:53.
Yeah. The thing about this timeline is that when it was made, that's what we knew. That was accurate information. But Tracy recently has been going through everything. And obviously we've gotten new leads recently. So the timeline has evolved since then. So we're not exactly we know that she made it back to mom's house, and the rest is still evolving after that. So a lot of this it is what was thought to have happened at that time period. So it's
Right.
different now.
So I have another thing I found today. Do you know this guy, Joey Fanciulli?
Yes, unfortunately.
Oh, unfortunately, because I wanted just to read what he says. So he's a retired homicide detective, and he is saying about that timeline. What I found in doing some back checking was the phone may not have been on at the house at 6:31 a.m. because when it shut off and came on, it never updated that 3:53 a.m. location. We don't know where Andrea was from 3:53 a.m. on, but we do know that the phone was last on at 6:31 a.m. So that would mean if the phone did not update the location, she was somewhere else for almost 3 hours, right?
Yeah. So we don't think we think that she probably left my mom's house, but we're not sure about the exact times. And I think Tracy and the police were wanting us to not go into too much detail about that just because of the integrity of the investigation. So
Yeah,
things have changed since this was said.
Ah, okay.
Basically, yeah.
All right. So when she went back to your mom's house, did she ever call you again or said they won't let me in or I can't open the door? If I remember right, your dad said that they were sleeping and did not hear anyone knocking on the door. So did she ever make contact with your dad or with you to tell you guys, I'm here, but I still cannot get into the house and anything like
When
that?
she came back the second time, she told me she couldn't get into the house. And I called my mom and I told her, I kind of laid into my mom a little bit. I said, you told Andrea that this was her house and she could live here. you need to make sure she gets into this house. There's no reason why she shouldn't have a key and be able to come and go as she wants to. You told her that's what was happening. There's no reason that she shouldn't be able to get in right now, and you need to make sure she gets into that house. So my mom said that she would. I was very frustrated with her that night. So yeah.
After she got back to your mom's house, no phone calls. So we don't know, or you guys don't know, if she even ever made it back to your mom's house?
Right. I didn't talk to her after she left my house. I actually went to the front of the house and looked out the window after talking to her because I felt really sad about having to tell her no. So I wanted to check on her and kind of see how she was doing as she left. So I looked out my window and saw that she was walking away. She looked like she had calmed down, and she was looking at her phone, like kind of like, doing this, like the way you would scroll. Like I felt like she was looking through her phone to call someone or text someone.
Right. We have a question. Where would she have went if parents wouldn't let her in? No, the house was under refurbishment, and Andrea's other little sister and her boyfriend were staying in the house, and your mom wasn't there, right, Erin?
Right. It was just my sister and her fiance, yes, that were there.
So they were helping with the refurbishment, and they said that they did not hear anyone knocking. They were fast asleep, and nobody heard anything.
Yeah. So where would Andrea have went? So my first thought is that she was with Amber, her best friend, Amber Carey. Also, I thought about Suzette, Nancy. I thought of all her close friends, and I even thought about our aunts and uncles and other relatives that she, was closest with. I called around to all of her close friends and family, that none of them had talked to her. That was really the first thing I did, was think about where would Andrea go. So I was calling around to everyone, and Amber actually took a few days before she finally told me. I hadn't talked to Andrea in over a week. So that's when I knew. When Amber finally replied to me, that's when I really knew something was wrong, because up until August 17th, I was thinking Andrea was probably with Amber. Maybe she was upset with us. I thought, like, that's not like Andrea to not get back to us and not keep in touch. But I thought maybe she was very upset. So yeah. Unfortunately, she wasn't with Amber. And when I knew she wasn't there, that's when I really knew something was wrong. And I filed the police report and began asking for the public's help.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You see that picture on the screen, that golden Chevy Impala? Some weird stuff was happening after Andrea was missing. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on with that car?
Yes. So
hang on a second. I have a bad internet connection, so I'm gonna just stop my camera, but I'm still here. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yep. All good.
Okay. So there was a person was found in the Philadelphia River who matched Andrea's description. She was very badly beaten, so I felt like the girl was not Andrea, based on some things that usually don't change when after you pass away, some different facial features, but we had to know for sure. So what we did was we found Andrea's dentist and got dental records. Well, the dental records were inconclusive. It was not enough to rule out Andrea being this deceased woman. So the next step was DNA swabs. So Detective Louder was the detective at the time. He took a mouth swab from my mother while she was at work, and then the plan was for him to meet up with Dad and I at my house to do the swabs. So he brought over the kit, and first I went, and that's It's a lot. They actually scrape your mouth. It's not like what you see on TV where they do it 3 times and they're done. They do it like 30 times on both sides of your mouth. So by the time you're done, you feel like you've been eating some chips that like scraped up your mouth really bad.
Oh, wow.
So anyways, he finished that, and Dad and I used that as an opportunity to talk to him about what's going on with Andrea's case. And that's when he told me, and this really upsets me because it's ridiculous. He told me, it's possible that Andrea just jumped in the Ohio River. And I said, well, if that's the case, can we find her? Is there like some kind of way that you can figure that out? And he said, no, it's very chaotic. If you jump in the Ohio River, you might be found randomly on the shore a week later or months later, or you might never be found at all. So I feel like he just kind of made that story up because he wanted us to write Andrea off, and that's not going to happen.
Did you
But
get any
anyways,
help? Did you get any
what?
help from police at the moment? Or are
I
they
feel like they're
treating it?
very overworked, and they didn't treat it like the emergency that it was, because she's an adult missing. They don't prioritize adults. Like we don't. If I go missing tomorrow, they're probably going to assume that I'd wanted to leave, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
That's what they do. But they're just very understaffed, and I feel like they need more people. Obviously, they need more detectives, but they also need to manage their time better, in my opinion. Just, like saying I have too much work is not an excuse not to do anything.
Right.
So anyways, we were standing on my porch talking to him about all these awful possibilities of what could have happened. And this car, it drives past my house. And the first time we thought nothing of it, because you're supposed to drive slow, just with, being a neighborhood and everything. But then he drove by 2 or 3 more times. And that's when Dad and I both were like, this is weird. Like, why is he doing this? We asked Detective Louder, and he just blew it off, which is not surprising at all. So he kind of ignored it and thought it was nothing. Well, the guy pulls up in front of my house and stops right in front of my house and watches us. And he's sitting there eating a sucker. The windows were very, very tinted. They're much darker than the way this car looks. It looked like limo tint, so it was a legal tint. And you know how a lot of times when people have tinted windows, it'll have a stripe across the front windshield too at the top.
Yeah.
So because of that, I could see his silhouette, and I could see like maybe the lower portion of his face because of that stripe on the front. And so I could tell that he was a thin white man, and he was eating a sucker. And then there was a girl in the passenger seat who appeared to be a thin, very thin white girl with dark hair. And it looked like she had long hair with her hair in a ponytail, like possibly in a bun high up on her head. So anyways, he sat there eating a sucker, just watching. And my dad was like, what's going on here? So he went up to approach the car, and he kind of drove off, like it startled him. And then he drove past a couple more times, and he even like waved to my dad. So my dad was basically, he's the same way I am, where, if we act in a situation, we don't wait for other people to do something. Or, Detective Louder obviously didn't care enough to do anything. So my dad got in the car and followed him as much as he could. And the guy ended up like running a light or something where my dad couldn't continue to follow him. But he did get this license plate number here, and the license plate came back stolen. The car was never found. But yeah, he was obviously very interested in what was going on at my home. And I checked, I'm very close with all my neighbors. We actually have a group chat that we use, kind of like a neighborhood watch, just to tell each other what's going on. And so I showed them this car, and I asked if anyone knew anyone with this car, and they all said no. So they definitely, it wasn't like a family member of anyone I knew or anyone that lived in my neighborhood. He was there because of me, and that's how I feel, and because of Andrea.
So you think that this guy directly had something to do with the disappearance of your sister?
I think if anyone is that interested in what's going on, there's a good reason for it. Yes. I think that he's at least a person of interest, someone that we need to talk to and find out what's going on.
Yeah,
agree.
because why would somebody, steal a license plate and show up in front of your house and
Right.
basically stalk you? I mean, that's fearless, isn't it?
Yeah, and it would be normal for someone that I don't know to come to my house and talk to me, because I was having a lot of people come out of the woodwork that cared because they wanted to help. But those people would just come up and approach me just like the way we're talking right now and say, "Hey, can I help you find your sister? Is there anything I can do?" I feel like
Right.
if it was innocent and good intentions, he would have just talked to me like a normal person would.
Absolutely. Oh my God. So you guys, if you know anyone in the area with that kind of car, just ask him. Just ask straight up. And that girl that was in the passenger seat was a white woman, dark haired,
Yes.
long hair with a
Yes.
ponytail. Okay, we have another question. Erin, you don't need to answer any questions if you're not comfortable with it. Okay?
Okay.
So, have a question from Dawn. 3 questions actually. First is, what do you think is the most probable scenario of her disappearance?
Ted, are you still here? Is he going? Maybe he's having some technical difficulties.
He's
Okay,
just
so
out.
what do you think? Oh, you are here. Okay. Do you want to answer? I didn't know if you wanted to take
He's
one.
not here. No.
Okay. Okay. So the most probable scenario, the way I feel is that anything that was not officially ruled out by facts and logic is still a possibility. So I can tell you how I feel just based on my experience of knowing Andrea, but I feel like really anything is possible until we know 100% sure with facts, because I feel like this is too important to just go off emotions. But what I feel happened more than likely is that one of the people who was taking advantage of her probably took her. So people are creatures of habit, obviously. I mean, I feel like we all are. We all have things that we do regularly, and those habits can create a pattern. So the pattern going on in Andrea's life is that she was going off, she was taking advice from people that had bad judgment, and she was getting hurt by those people repeatedly. So I feel like that's probably what happened that night. She was already looking at her phone when she walked away from my house. I think that she left with someone willingly, because the reason I think that is because it's a very quiet neighborhood that I grew up in. They have their own police force. All the neighbors, they all live close together over there. They're very 911 happy. For example, you can park with your tire in the grass a little bit, and the police are going to give you a ticket for it. Like, they notice everything. I know that there were other nights where my sisters had arguments, and people called 911 just because of some arguing. So in my opinion, if anything out of the ordinary would have happened that night, I think that they would have called the police. Actually, I know, I'm about, I guess, 99% sure that someone would have done something. These neighbors are people we've known our entire lives that care about all of us. So I do not think anything happened there. I think it's more likely that she left and something unexpected happened after she left. Any evidence of that, just circumstantial, just what I know about the area. We know the police did tell us that she made 5 phone calls that night. I only know two people actually, Suzette and Yvette. Those are 2 people that she was close to that she would have asked. She would have said, "Hey, can you come pick me up?" And both of those people they didn't answer the phone, and they both told me the same thing, that they tried calling her right back and she didn't answer. So I think that she was wanting to leave, and that when her close friends did not answer, maybe she reached out to someone that she was not so close with, that did not care about her. Both Yvette and Suzette are people that those were what I considered good friends of hers.
Right.
Was Andrea in a good or bad relationship with a man? at that time. She had had other tumultuous relationships, I felt, and that's another thing. There were days where I would check on her every single day because I was worried about her, because of the relationship she would choose to get into. But I think she was kind of finally being more guarded, where she was not getting into a serious relationship with anyone. I know that she was possibly dating around, and that's the most we really know about that.
Right. Do you know anything about the other 3 phone calls she made?
No,
Does police know?
the police won't give us that information, unfortunately. I put
Oh,
in
since
a open records request. I asked them to give me any information related to my missing sister, and they just gave me a report that had all the details left off of it,
oh, wow.
like an empty report. Like it's. I've seen some people passing this around on the internet, something similar. The one I received was more detailed as far as like it showed any time that the report was edited or worked on, and it showed which officer was inputting that information, but it didn't show what the actual information was. So they're
So
being
why?
they're hiding all that from us. They call it playing it close to the vest is their way of wording it.
Have you ever thought about, that's probably a very, very dumb question, but have you ever thought about that the person who took her, given the fact that Andrea was involved with law enforcement due to her, looking for missing people, do you think maybe it's coming from them a little bit? Like
What do you mean?
somebody maybe known to police, maybe
Like,
from their inner circle?
you think a police officer could be involved in her disappearance?
Yeah, or somebody who is close or working with police?
Really, anything is possible at this point. I have not seen any evidence pointing to that. What do you think, Ted?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that question. It kicked me back off again. I'm sorry.
It's okay. She was asking, since Andrea was in the missing persons field, she might have known people in law enforcement. Do you think it's possible that anyone in law enforcement might be involved in her disappearance?
No, I don't think anybody in law enforcement would be involved in her disappearance at all.
Yeah, I haven't
Okay.
really gotten anything I haven't seen anything to show that either.
Yeah, it's just weird that they wouldn't give out any information.
Well, sometimes on an ongoing investigation, they will not give out information, depending on people of interest and stuff like that. Sometimes they don't want to give out information that may compromise their investigations.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty standard thing, unfortunately.
Mhm.
It would be fine. It would be fine with me if I knew they were doing things to find her. That would be more than okay. If I felt like it was helping Andrea, but in this case, I don't think that enough is being done. So I think that we need the information in order to find her. Someone has to solve this.
Yeah. Is there any door house camera footage from neighbors or her arriving to mom's house?
So shortly after Andrea went missing, Mark Baker, Tracy Leonard, my dad, and myself went along the pathway that Andrea took to get back to mom's house. And so we went door to door, and we looked. We would walk up to the doorsteps, check out the front of the house to see if we saw any cameras, like Ring doorbells or security cameras. And if we saw one, we would ask if we could check the footage. I wrote down any addresses of people that had the camera that didn't answer the door, and Tracy went back and checked with each person to review the footage and see what was found. And the way the neighborhood is set up, I'm not sure if you have any pictures. You could probably pull it up from like Google Maps or something, but if you look at the area, the houses have big front yards, and you can't really see the sidewalk from there.
A lot of
And
a lot of
trees.
those video cameras and Ring cameras that were out there, a lot of them weren't working at that time. If I remember the notes that I've read from Mark and Tracy. So they even checked the cameras at the gas stations and local places around as well.
Right. Yeah. Ring doorbell cameras, they only pick up at a certain point and most likely not have the whole walkway, in view. They don't. Yeah, but cameras on the streets, on, nothing.
No, we haven't seen anything at this time. So
I feel like you guys doing more than the actual investigators.
More than the police.
Absolutely.
That's right. I mean, there's a lot more that we did. I could tell you about. Anytime we receive, still to this day, when we receive a potential sighting, we check it out until we know 100% it's not Andrea. So, for example, early on, there was an area like the next neighborhood over where we were getting sightings. We were staking it out day and night. I was taking FMLA time off work. So I was taking unpaid leave from work in order to find Andrea regularly. We were searching through homeless camps at nighttime at all hours, knocking on doors, not knowing what to expect. We had drug dealers getting mad at us and ripping down posters because they didn't like all the attention that we were bringing to the area. So we were really the ones that were putting in the time and the work. If we thought we found Andrea, like when we needed the police to get involved, like for example, like to actually get her, our plan was at the time, if she was out, on her own free will, we thought maybe she had like a mental breakdown or maybe a drug problem. So our plan was to get the police involved to get her out of wherever she was safely so that we could talk to her. So yeah, like if we thought we found her a good address for her, we would get the police involved. But most of the time we would end up finding the person that everyone thought was Andrea, and we were able to roll out, obviously, and say this is not her. And then we would move on to the next sighting.
yes,
And this has been going on for years.
we have followed up on every lead that's come in, no matter how small. So many lookalikes, homeless camps. I mean, just recently, just a couple days ago, we got a tip on someone they thought they had spotted Andrea, and I set out and staked out that area. And I think your dad was there too. Mike was also there during the day, and I was there at night. And I actually did end up talking to a young lady that kind of looked like Andrea, and I knew it wasn't after speaking to her. And yeah, it wasn't a match. So, but
Any canine searches?
yes, we had a young man named Tony Wise. He had brought his dogs out, I think, right after Andrea came up missing. Is that correct, Erin?
I think it was a few months, maybe closer to a year after she went missing. Yeah, but he came, Cajun Coast Search and Rescue. We also had a search organization that was local come and search the woods behind my house and a few other areas of interest.
That was Jefferson County Search and Rescue. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's the one. And we have another search coming up here soon. We're planning one with the Q Foundation. They have search dogs as well. So we're going to have them roll out some other areas.
And I have my own canine as well, Duke, and he does search and rescue as well.
Perfect, but no leads whatsoever, right?
No.
Nope. So we have actually got a couple hits from when Tony came. The dog actually tracked her path the way she came, and which was pretty amazing. Because if I remember seeing the maps, that he tracked it, he tracked it pretty well, right to right to Cheryl's house.
Yeah.
So,
to your mom's house.
Yes.
Yeah, but we were hoping that we could find some kind of, I don't know, anything really, like maybe something she dropped along the way, or her purse or her phone or anything like that at all. And we didn't come up with anything from that. So
Is it possible still to pull all her, apart from what kind of phone did she have?
I know it was an Android. I don't know about the brand of phone or what her phone service was.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about Androids. Has she ever disappeared before with no contact? Somebody's
Never.
asking.
No. Andrea is the kind of person that no matter how bad you were arguing, probably 30 or 45 minutes later, she was over it. Like, that's just kind of how our whole family is, but especially Andrea. So she never did that. She was the kind of person that if I was having a terrible day and I just really needed someone to be with me, I always could depend on Andrea to
Come.
keep in touch with me. She answered my calls, or she would call me right back every time. And she was the same way with the rest of my family. So that's one thing that really scared us the next day when we weren't able to reach her.
Yeah. I think you answered that already. Did she and the people around her use drugs?
We did not find evidence that she was using drugs. I did find prescription bottles for Adderall. So it's possible that some of her issues that she was having was because of Adderall. Maybe, I don't know if she was taking the proper dose or if she missed any of it. There's been rumors of illegal drug use, but we don't know that for sure. Ted, what do you think about that?
There's a lot of speculation that she was, but there's no proof of that at this present. So
yeah,
Right.
I know some of her friends and an ex of hers use drugs, but it's not abnormal for Andrea to help people that are in low situations. That's like if she had a best friend that she'd known her entire life use drugs and go missing, and she found her.
yes,
She didn't just write her off because she was using drugs. So in other words, I don't feel like saying she had a friend that was using drugs is enough to say that she was. Like, she just was very caring towards people and whatever issue they might be having.
Right. And she had two small children as well, right? Two boys.
Yes,
So
yeah, and
I don't
Andrea is
think,
a very, very caring mother. She made us all very happy. I was matching up my schedule with Andrea's so I could spend time with her, her and her children. So she had 50-50 custody. And the way their schedule was set up, she got them every 2 days. So I was going over there every 2 days, and our kids would hang out and play. And in her home, before she had to leave there, she had a basketball goal and a trampoline, and she was the kind of person that would cook dinner every night, and she would allow anybody to come over too. It was so it was Andrea and Amber who were living at her last home, and Andrea has 2 kids, and then Amber has 3 kids, and they're all boys. And then plus my 2 youngest sons were going over there with me every day. So you can imagine if like other kids in the neighborhood see like 7 boys, running around having fun, they're going to want to join in. So Andrea always allowed anyone who wanted to come in and be a part of the fun. So that's something that I really cherish about Andrea, is that she included everyone. I mean, some of these neighbors obviously they came from troubled homes, so she gave them fun, safe memories, and just let them be a part of the family for the time they were there.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like, to me, my personal opinion is, I think when I hear everything, so I think that she probably knew the person she was willingly going with. I don't think she would have just went away and left her children behind and all that. I don't believe that for a second.
I
I
agree.
think,
I think she's too careful to go with a stranger. I don't think that would make any sense at all either.
yeah, but she's also from what people are saying and what you tell us today, she's also very trusting. Like, she trusts people in an instant. Like you said, she's taking everybody in, no matter who has problems, and she's always helping. That, yeah, that makes me feel like something happened when she went with that person and something turned, in a different direction or something like that. But yeah, she must have met this person at your mom's house or in the area of your mom's house.
Well,
For the
I think you're exactly right. I think she knew the people or persons, possibly when she came up missing. I think she was aware of who these people were or a person was, and that she willingly, possibly left with them.
Any traces or evidence going in the direction of sex trafficking or something?
we've gotten. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't want to speculate on that currently right now. We are following up on leads, very fruitful leads right now, that are leading us in a couple, in a direction that is probably, very, very, very good leads. That's all I can say right now.
Yeah. I hope something comes out of it this time.
So sorry, what?
I said, go ahead.
Question is,
Okay, yeah, the question.
Yeah. What investigation could be compromised after 4 years without any progress?
So it's been 2.5 years since Andrea went missing, but it's been so scary. It feels like it might as well be 10 years. It's amazing to me that this amount of time has passed. But again, yeah, the police, they'll keep things as long as it takes, unfortunately, whether it's helping or not, is what I've learned from this situation. What do you think, Ted?
I think I think the police are, they've got, I think they're learning as well as what we are. Tracy has been staying in contact with the police and kind of where we're at on our investigation and following up with the detectives. So I know they're understaffed, as well. So I think that Tracy and them have a better relationship of communication back and forth right now.
Mm-hmm. I think you already said that they did. Did they search the Ohio River?
No.
We've searched the shoreline before, different times. There's also Beargrass Creek that runs through Louisville. Those are some areas that I'm wanting to check. My plan is to use the money from the GoFundMe to buy an underwater drone. I think that would be an effective way to check it.
Yeah, because have you ever heard of these guys, Adventure with Purpose?
Yeah, I've actually reached out to them. I do have a volunteer group that I should mention now. Andrea's Angels, they recommend any people that they think could help, whether it's raising awareness or searching. And one of my angels did mention Adventures with a Purpose, so I emailed them personally. They told me they weren't able to help, so I asked, like, what, why, how come? And they said, basically, since the docuseries, Finding Andrea suggested foul play, even though it's all speculation and no one really knows what happened. They said that the suggestion of foul play is enough for them not to help. I guess they feel like it's not safe for them to pursue it. And then also because we don't know for sure if a vehicle was involved. So Adventures with a Purpose, they use that radar to look for vehicles. So they said it would be really hard to find Andrea without knowing if there's a vehicle or not involved.
Yeah. Do you want to put the link into your GoFundMe and to that website with your angels?
How do you do that?
Or you can send it to me on Messenger and I can put it in.
Okay, yeah, sure. So if you look for Andrea Knabel on Facebook and just send me a message, you can ask to be added to Andrea's Angels. It's a group chat for volunteers, and you can do volunteer work from your phone. Any ideas or any talents that you have that you would like to bring to the table are very much welcomed. I asked Matt, Andrea's Angels today if they had any advice for public speaking for me. So it can be anything.
That,
Okay.
and I have to add, that's a fantastic group too. Andrea's Angels, they have helped tremendously of spreading awareness and getting, just doing an amazing job.
I agree. I'm
That's
very
fantastic.
grateful for them, and it's growing every day.
Wow. That's awesome. I'm sorry if this question was already asked already, but had she embarked on a new relationship, was she acting any different for good or for bad days or weeks leading up to her disappearance?
I feel like she was acting different probably a year and a half to 2 years before she went missing. She was acting a lot different, just with her decision making and some of the things that she was saying and doing. It was not like her normal self. We found one person that she was, seeing. Remember how I said earlier she was dating around. That person lawyered up and refused to talk to us. So
Oh, wow.
that's very normal for us to hit walls like that. So what
Yes.
happens is when you put yourself around sketchy people that may have criminal records or they're doing things that they don't want the public to know about, is that they don't want to put themselves in the spotlight. People like myself, I'm pretty transparent. What you see is what you get. I'll answer any question that you have. Well, if you're doing things that you don't want people to know about, you're not going to be that way. So we don't know if he lawyered up because, I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there, if he's a drug dealer, or who knows if he's into some other kind of illegal activity and he doesn't want the attention, or it could be because he knows something about my sister. So it's just, that's the problem that we're running into over and over again, is that Andrea, with her being not only was she very fun and caring, but she also had a very upbeat personality. She attracted all different types of people, and unfortunately, she was choosing the ones with problems, people that were making bad decisions, and that's been a very big roadblock for us.
Right. The father of her children, had he been questioned by family or law enforcement? I think the children were at the dad's that
Right.
night, right?
Right. It was
So,
not her parenting night. So they were taking care of their children. They were never thought to be involved in any of this. She didn't have that type of relationship with them. It was just normal co-parenting. Her older son's dad actually was extremely helpful, and he's spoken to anyone that wants to talk to him, just because he's known Andrea for so long. So he told us everything that he knew that he thought could be helpful, and then he's also helped hang flyers for us. So he's been a tremendous help, and he's been great as far as just letting us get to see my nephew anytime. So I'm very grateful for him. And then her younger son's father, I think he's very busy with what he has going on in his life, but he's also been very, he's allowed us to get my younger nephew as much as we can too. So
right.
I feel like it's just normal exes co-parenting situations. I don't see anything there. And the police and everyone did talk to them.
Yeah. I mean, the husband or boyfriend is normally the first one under suspicion, right? But Yeah, it doesn't sound to me like he had anything to do with this. As you can
Yeah.
see, we're a group of little hobby detectives, so that
That's
mirrors
okay.
questions you're getting. But yeah, I'm quite happy that people are asking so many different
Yeah.
questions because it could go in any direction, really, that
I agree
case.
completely. And this is what I do in my free time. I talk to people that I trust, um, like Ted and Tracy and my dad. And we do exactly what you guys are doing right now. We talk about different things that come to mind, that we think about. So I really appreciate everyone's questions and input. And if at any point you think of something, after this point, you can always join my group. It's actually your group too, right? It's
Yeah,
our group,
but
for
I
discussion.
I have so no time for Facebook, so I'm so very, very happy that you manage all the group
Mhm.
and everything. I mean, it's your sister, you know. It, oh,
Thank you so much. I want to tell you that you're different from everybody else because of that. A lot of people, they just wanted the hate and the negativity and the gossip, and they didn't want to use it for good. So thank you for, being a stand-up person that was okay with me being a part of it, and you were okay with the truth being in your group, and you were
oh,
okay with me
absolutely,
sharing the volunteer
absolutely.
opportunities.
Yes, I agree.
Absolutely,
Thank you very much.
no problem at all. I mean, you guys are, it's your sister and your friend, and why not? I mean, that's totally stupid, but you see that a lot in not only missing persons cases, but also in murder cases or whatnot. People, they're going crazy, like
They are.
uh, it's they with the families and all that. I mean, we just, my little group, and we have the Chris Watts case at the moment.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy what kind of people coming out of the woodwork, and then they feel like, oh, they knew that person who died or whatever all their life, and completely leave out the family, and family is disgusting and this and that. It's just ridiculous what's going on with these cases. And I heard
I do.
some that you were in trouble as well, and that you got
Yes.
attacked as well, or simply being Andrea's sister, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's many people want to just assume these crazy, disgusting things about me when they really have no clue. Um, a lot of them, I tell them, like, if you're local, like, let's meet for lunch or something, you're going to change your mind because I'm not this crazy monster you're putting out there. Like, I wish people would just realize I just want my sister back. I just want her to be okay. And if that can't
Absolutely.
happen, I want justice for her. And I don't care who's involved. Like, I have no loyalty to anyone. I've cut ties with so many people that I've known my entire life over this, and I'll continue to do that until I figure out what happened.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
it's people saying, oh, you were the last person who saw her. You should have let her in. But why add to somebody's already? You have your head so full, and you thinking about it, and you probably ask yourself, why didn't I just let her in, or why didn't I just let her stay with me? And it's so horrible when people go like, oh, you should have this, you should have that, and they don't even know
Yeah.
you. It's
Yeah, I
horrible.
don't know if you've heard of Captain Hindsight before. Like,
Yeah,
everybody always thinks that they have the answers looking back, but really that's not a healthy way to live your life, to live in the past. We can't control what's already happened. I can only control what is happening right now and the future. So we're just doing everything we can right now. Um, she,
right.
I know that Andrea used to be on Tinder, to answer the question below. Um, my husband at the time and I would go on double dates with her sometimes for Tinder. I know I went to like a play or something with her one time. But when in the past year and a half to 2 years, I don't recall her talking about Tinder. I know that her roommate did talk about some type of video app that she was on. I don't know the name of it though. I need to get with Amber and check that out. Can you access her bank accounts, credit card activity? I cannot personally access that, but the police can, and they have, and they said that there's no signs of life at all as far as any of her accounts. There's no activity.
Was Tracy close to Andrea? I guess so, yeah, because they were searching for missing people, right? Together.
Yeah, they were like, Andrea was a volunteer. She was a part of the volunteer group that helped Andrea. So I would say Andrea was like a colleague of Tracy's, someone that,
Yes.
they worked together professionally. I feel like she was an asset to him. Andrea's very smart. She's good with talking to people. She knows every part of the town like at the back of her hand. Like amazingly, it was crazy. So I feel like she was a valued part of the team.
Yes, she was. She was very good at research. Very, very good at research and interviews. So she did a lot to help Tracy.
Right. I heard her saying on that little trailer for the documentary Finding Andrea, and I heard her saying, I'm an investigator. And I was smiling at this because, she reminds me so much of myself. Like, I'm an investigator, so proud, really nice.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. If you guys need help, my friend Don, he's good with audio footage or camera footage enhancements, anything like that. I'm good with phones, anything when it comes to data, to towers, all that stuff. So I can, help with that. Absolutely give me a shout when you need anything. I mean, we're talking anyway. I'm trying to be more active in the group from now on, I promise.
Yeah, and I understand everybody has a lot we all have so much going on in our lives. So anything that anyone wants to contribute, no matter how big or small, it's appreciated, whatever you can do.
Yeah,
absolutely. I just put the group link up and then we take it from there. If people want to join and they can offer something they're good at. Do you know what tipped her over the edge leading up to the disappearance, bad relationship, trouble with her children, dad, or any case she was helping with? Was she getting close?
On our end, she wasn't working at before she came up missing. She wasn't working in any cases at all for us, or and I don't think she was working in cases for MIA either.
Yeah, Andrea was really struggling a lot during this time of her life. We were doing everything we could to get her back on track. We asked her flat out, like, if she was using drugs, and she denied it. So we were working on getting her help from a psychiatrist. So she was struggling to get her basic needs met. She didn't have a car, she didn't have a house or a job. So she was concerned on first getting a car so that she could pick up her kids and be a mom, and then saving money and getting a house. So she was at the point where she had to take care of, she had to fix her own situation. Everything was kind of crumbling down around her. It was a lot. But my opinion is that Andrea did not get tipped over the edge. I don't think that she would ever give up or stop. I think she saw all these things as a roadblock and something that she would get past. We know she was chipping away at it one thing at a time. We saw she was searching for car parts to get her car fixed, and she had interviews for new jobs that she set up. She wanted to do data entry from home is what she was looking into, and obviously we know she was going to the doctor to get her skin issue fixed. So in my opinion, Andrea, even though she had problems, she was working on it every single day and doing what needed to get done to get it fixed. So I think she was really busy with that, where she couldn't do any of the volunteering with missing people at that point. But I believe if she was here right now, like if someone had not taken her away from us, I think she would be back on track already and helping people again.
I agree.
Absolutely. One hell of a night is saying, have them pull the DNA from the teeth pulp to test. Please demand it.
Do you mean because of the person who was found in the river? Maybe the woman from the Philadelphia River? If so, we ruled it out with the swab, the mouth swab. Excuse me.
Oh, that's an interesting question. Any psychic?
Well, this case has gotten so much national attention that the people who are claiming to be psychic are coming out of the woodwork and creating YouTube videos. I wonder if they realize that we check every time they mention an area that needs to be searched. We check it every single time. I know, Ted, haven't you searched a lot of them with my dad?
What's that? I'm sorry.
The just different areas that psychics will suggest.
Yes.
A lot of times they'll talk about parks and bodies of water, and we check every single one of them. I feel like regardless if we believe in psychics or not, that they might have good ideas, like because some of these areas are probably areas where people are found a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of that, I got a tip last night from a psychic that came over and mentioned some coordinates in the Clifton area, which is kind of ironic. So, so yeah, we're definitely gonna check some of that area.
So you guys look into everything. Everything is
Yes.
covered.
It doesn't matter how small it is. We are going to chase it. We are going to follow every single lead that comes. And we have from the first day that Tracy had started this investigation, Tracy and Mark, and I came into this investigation, I guess, about maybe eight months to a year ago, ERIN, something like that.
That sounds right. Yeah. So Mark Baker was like Tracy's main investigator. He was who Tracy assigned to look for Andrea. He unfortunately passed away. Let's see, it was December of 2020, I think.
Yes.
And shortly after Mark Baker passed away is when Ted came into the picture. And Mark was an amazing guy.
Yes, he was.
Really, it was really a hard loss for us. Even though I didn't know him for very long, I was spending out like 10 hours with him almost every day searching for Andrea. So I feel like I got to know him really quickly, and he was a very good person and a good friend. So
Yes,
yeah, you grow
very
together,
important.
don't you? During an investigation, it's, these guys are all family, or they become family
Yeah.
more than.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you sit in a car with someone for, 8 hours at a time. Like, you get to know each other a lot. And he taught me so much of what I know now about how to find people. Went from how to hang posters to get the most attention to how to search for people, just everything. And
Yep.
it's a shame that he's not here anymore, but we're doing this in his memory too, not only to find Andrea. I know Tracy told me that this was something that really was very important to him.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Was the documentary accurate? Did it help the case?
You want me to answer that, ERIN?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the documentary brought awareness to Andrea. I'm going to give it that. I think a lot of the other things were misrepresented.
We can't hear you.
Looks like he's going through the settings. Uh-oh. If you want, I can take it while he's working on that. So, something that happened during the production that most people don't know about. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate that. So when we were told about this show, what we wanted it, Finding Andrea, to be was a call to action. And we got confirmation that that's what would happen, meaning that this would be the first show that Investigation Discovery did that was not solved already. And it was supposed to be a call to action where we ask for the public's help. And so that's what made us say, yes, definitely we'll do whatever we can to make this happen. Well, John Kim was the producer that wanted it to be that way. He's the producer of First 48. I don't know if you all are familiar with that show, but we got to know John Kim very well, and he wanted this to be about Andrea. Well, some other people, I guess, in the network did not like that idea, and they wanted it to be more dramatic. They wanted it to be about Nancy and Joe, and to make them look like they're heroes, kind of like an investigator show. They wanted it to be more about the people that were looking than actually be about Andrea. So that's what was done. I feel like they took a lot of things out of context to make us look like we were bad people, which is far from the truth. It's unfortunate because I feel like if they would have told the truth, it would have been just as exciting. Ted, what do you think about the docuseries?
I think what I was saying there, I think it was a lot of cut and paste. I think they chose how they wanted to create their own narrative for it. I think they took a lot of things out of context and placed them where they wanted. So I think it's helped us with getting her name out, but I think it's hurt the case with the other people that were involved in this. I don't want to mention their names, but I think there's a few other people that were involved in the documentary that really hurt this case.
Yeah, because they made the documentary about themselves, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just can warn you guys, don't join any groups or anything where ERIN is not part of, or Ted or Tracy is not part of, because those groups and pages and or Andrea's Angels, this is where you get the accurate information.
Yeah.
Nowhere
I mean, you
else.
can join it, you can watch the show, but fact check it. Be a critical thinker. Check things out for yourself. Ask me. I'll answer any questions that you have. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to be like, wow, that's way different from what I thought. Everything that has been said that's wrong, said to degrade Tracy's character or Ted's character or any of ours, it can be easily disproven.
Right.
And it's very unfortunate that had to be done. That's what was decided.
Yep. Fact checked is very, very correct. And that's what they need to do, is fact checked,
Absolutely. So you're best off if you join the Facebook group. I put the links up all the time. And then ERIN is an admin in there, and Ted is in there, and Tracy's in there. And if you have any questions, just message ERIN. She always answers everything, all the questions people may have. And you can also offer, help in any way, shape, or form, no matter what you're good at. If you're living in the area, help searching, or put up flyers. Anything helps, really. Anything helps. What I wanted to know is, when Andrea disappeared, were there any other women disappearing during that time?
Not at that exact time. I think in recent years, yes.
Yes.
But not exactly in August of 2019. It was around the time that the fair happened, and that can bring people from other areas that are not normally in town.
Where can they watch the documentary? Is it on Discovery, right?
It's on cable TV now, so you can watch it on Investigation Discovery. It's also on Hulu now and Discovery Plus. Those are the two streaming apps that I know of. And what I was told by them is that as time goes on, more places will pick it up. So that's why it started off on Discovery Plus, moved to Hulu, and then Investigation Discovery.
Yeah. Oh, people already gonna go do some research tonight on that case. Yeah, we have great people in my little group here on
Thank you.
YouTube. It's
Thank you,
really good.
Allison.
They are all so smart. Like they find you stuff in a matter of minutes. It's really good.
Thank you.
So,
And one thing that I want people to realize, and a lot of you, it sounds like you probably already know this, a person that is, doing criminal activity or doing something that they don't want people to know about, they're not going to put themselves out there. Like, why would I put myself on the spot right now on a live interview, answering any question that you throw at me if I had something to hide? Like, it's just not logical. The people that need to be looked at the most are the ones that are hiding. And that's
agree.
just the way it is. And that doesn't necessarily mean that if you're quiet that you did something wrong, but the ones that are doing things to actually find a person certainly are not the ones at fault.
right. Thank you for answering all the questions, Erin and Ted. I found the documentary over sensationalized.
Yeah.
Did not make sense or sit well with me on a missing persons case. Prayers to you, Erin, and your family.
Yeah, I have something that I want everyone to know. If you watch the docu-series with a critical eye, you'll notice everything that they did to edit it. For example, why did they spend 5 minutes straight while Nancy sat there staring at the table looking sad, but they cut my dad off where he couldn't finish a complete sentence? If someone can tell me, yes, why would they cut off grieving family members in the middle of their answer to a question, but they allowed other people that hardly even know Andrea to just sit there looking sad on camera? That's one example that you can see happening over and over again on this docuseries. Another thing that I want to say is that, Tracy is a private investigator and he's a successful one. When you ask him a question, he'll give you detailed answers, like well thought out, detailed answers. He's a detail oriented person. And on that docuseries, you'll see that people ask him questions and his answer is, "It is what it is." Now, that's a phrase that Tracy does like to say, but he says that at the end of a well thought out answer. He's not going to just randomly throw out different sayings. Like, that's just absolutely insane. So when I saw that made me upset for Tracy. And then another thing that you'll see with my dad is they frequently would cut him short. Same thing for me. They made one scene where my dad was talking. They made it out to be like he was this person that was shifting his answers, and if you look closely, he was wearing a different outfit for every sentence he was saying. So how can you even make sense of that when you're just taking over a year's worth of interviews and taking whatever sentence suits you for that situation? That's wrong, and that's not honest. When I confronted the shows about this, because I had, those other people that were made out to be heroes telling me that Investigation Discovery's legal team was monitoring my post. And so I'm the kind of person that I'm not going to live in fear. If I feel like I'm being threatened, I'm going to, get my phone and be like, "Hey, I heard that you guys are monitoring my post. What's up with that? Am I supposed to pretend like I'm a character in your show the rest of my life?" Like, that's just insane. Like, you can't do that.
Right.
I guess I'm not Erin anymore. I'm like, Finding Andrea Erin, and that's it for the rest of my life. So I told them, like, I'm not going to live a lie. I'm going to be honest about my family and my life. And they told me that, yes, even though it was in the docuseries that you're not supposed to say anything negative about the show, they said that freedom of speech is still a thing, but they recommended to me that I just ignore everything. So they wanted me to just let everyone completely slaughter my family all over the place and talk about the thing that matters most in my entire life. which is Andrea and the rest of my family. They expected me to just sit by and let everyone say terrible things about us and just monitor it for leads. Well, I feel like if I do that, that I did that entire show in vain, and that my sister's story would die. So I'm not doing that. I'm using my free speech. We're in the United States, and I'm telling the truth about myself and my family.
Well,
Right.
facts are facts, and a lot of those in the documentary weren't true facts. So they weren't. Like one speculation with our office being burned down. You know, that they kind of portrayed it as we burned our own office down, which is ridiculous. So,
Wow.
I mean, yes. So that's just it
That's
was totally ridiculous.
self-sabotage.
To
Yeah.
shed a bad light on you guys.
Yes. Well, and that's what they wanted to do. I think apparently the other two people involved, like I said, I don't want to mention their names because they're not worth me mentioning their names right now. They've got enough spotlight on themselves because they're a little self-righteous, creating their own narrative. So
Did they get paid for the documentary?
I'm assuming they did. So I'm just assuming, like I said, I can't verify that if they did or not. I don't know. So
I have thought about doing my own documentary, and I think it would be a pretty good story pitch if we said what really happened, like the real story of Andrea Knabel missing. I have thought about that. We need to get a network to pick it up. Where the contract with Investigation Discovery ended in December, so I'm ready. If anyone has any suggestions about who we can contact, I've checked with Unsolved Mysteries and A&E, several other places.
How about Netflix?
It's a process.
I agree. We would be part of it. Exactly. I'm sure we'd be part of it, backing you up, ERIN, and letting know the true facts of the case.
Yeah. Have you contacted Netflix?
I haven't. Well, it's possible that some of my volunteers have. Kristen is very helpful. She's one of Andrea's angels. She keeps a list of all the podcasts and shows that we've emailed. So she would have that documented. I can check and see if we've contacted Netflix. I have a template in an email that I copy and paste, and I send it out anytime we get a new suggestion. So we either email people or we do case submission forms. Those are the two ways we usually get in touch with people. So if you have a link to a submission form or send me an email address, that would be extremely helpful because we do get a lot of suggestions. So what I tell people, like the way it would be most manageable for me is just include the link in it. Your suggestion, please.
Wait.
I'm definitely gonna look and see if I can get you some contact, ERIN.
Thank you.
And you guys in chat, also, if you have any suggestions, join the group, contact ERIN. Dateline, yeah, would be another good idea.
Yeah.
CNN, did they run the case of your sister?
We've had a lot of news companies cover Andrea's story. All the local news stations have, and we've had national and international news covering Andrea, but they all could go ahead and do it again. That's always suggested that they rerun the story. So that's something that we need to do. Nancy Grace has covered it. We've been very lucky. The thing that has helped us get more attention is just the unique situation that Andrea looked for missing people and then went missing herself. So because of her volunteer work, that's what has luckily caused us to get some extra attention. But a lot of people will tell us, and that's right, it does put pressure on law enforcement. And I can guarantee whoever knows what happened to Andrea is watching this, and it puts pressure on that person as well. It causes people that didn't know they were witnesses to come forward because they might not know Andrea's missing. They don't realize their information they have is valuable until they know she's missing. So a lot of people will say, like, you have national attention, what more do you need? And I'm like, hello, I need my sister back. It's never going to be enough until Andrea's back. So
Exactly.
we're
And
just going to
help
keep
from
doing what
law
we're
enforcement.
doing until she's here.
Yeah, and help from law enforcement as well. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I mean,
And I feel like, sorry, what?
they need to get pressured first and
That's true.
foremost,
Yes, I agree.
because they
But
have
I
the
think they also
equipment.
need more help. They have really bad staffing there.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you know, if somebody that's a human being missing, that's a loved one, it's a family member, a friend, a mother, you know, how can they say, oh, we're understaffed? Sorry. Like, this
Yes, I
is
agree completely. It's infuriating. It's terrible.
absolutely.
It's really hard.
Oh, you guys, if you know anything, what Erin could contact, please send her an email or a message through the Facebook group. Everything is appreciated in this case. And I'm gonna actually was working on a little, you know, overview of the story, because not everyone is joining live streams. So I'm gonna be uploading another video tomorrow.
Thank you.
Just, you know, a little overview, because I wanted a little bit more information of you guys, because it's been a quite some time that I looked last into that case. And now that I have all the facts and information I needed, I'm gonna upload like a
Almost.
little
Okay. Can we
overview.
give you the tip lines too that we have?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
502 574 LMPD for missing persons, and then 502 618 9337 for Tracy Leonard.
Yeah, that's what I have in the ticker. Like,
Okay.
it's
Yeah. So
going
one thing I
across.
want to point out is that the missing persons unit, they will they do answer the tip line, that 574 LMPD, and I know that because I've called it before, and they told me like, hey, was that you? But then they also have their own numbers. The one below that is 574 7120, that one goes directly to the missing persons unit, but they will also check the anonymous tip line, the 574 LMPD. And I want to say at the end of this, I want to make sure everyone knows Andrea is a very special person. Not only was she very smart and fun and outgoing, but she used her gifts to make everyone's life around her better, including my own. Everyone deserves
Absolutely.
to be found. She was a mom, a sister, a daughter, and so please just, even if it's a few minutes a week, anything you're able to do is always going to be appreciated. And if you have any questions at all, I'm always okay with answering them, as long as they're respectful. That's what I always ask people. And thank you so much for watching this. If you'd like to join Andrea's Angels, just message me on Facebook and I'll add you.
Absolutely. I wanna join. So you message me or send me the link to
Yeah,
where I
I can add you to it.
because I really wanna help. You know, I'm not an expert or anything. I just do this as a hobby. But I became really good at it, like when it comes to data and phones and all that stuff. So if you guys need any help on this, no problem. I will
Thank you.
try and see. You know, I have people working for Apple. I mean, that's not Android, but I'm sure they can give me tips, or, you know, think of something nobody probably thought about, you know. I mean, like
Yes.
anything,
Yes,
you know.
definitely. They're IT professionals. I'm sure that they might have good ideas for us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And actually, Don is a law enforcement consultant, so he has special equipment too.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'm sure he will help too if his help is needed with anything. Like, and you guys in chat also, if you know somebody or if you want to help, just shoot a message to Erin or join the group if you want to have updated facts on the case. And yeah, let's just hope he's coming back home soon.
Thank you.
Hope for the best. And thank you guys so much for being here and raising awareness.
Thank you for having us.
Yep. Thank you very much.
It's really, really close to my heart, that case. I think I was the first Facebook group back then. Could that be? Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was just so mysterious. And, when I heard she's volunteering for searching for missing people, and then she goes missing herself, I couldn't believe it. It's just really, really sad. But yeah, don't, let the trolls get to you and people who have no clue get to you. We see that every day with other cases. It's also jealousy. Then, they want to be important with things probably never being important in their life. So they trying to be important now.
It's really sad because you can be important just by honestly caring and doing the right thing. And it's sad that some people choose to do the wrong thing to get attention.
Yeah, and
I don't understand it.
First and foremost, being honest. If you say, "Oh, I cannot help because this is not my field. I'm not an expert in this and that," then just say so. Don't
Exactly.
say, "Oh, yeah, I'm doing this," and trying to get the attention, especially with that documentary. I mean, this should be all about Andrea and nobody else. All about Andrea. Find
Yeah,
her.
I'm devastated. They didn't bring up any of the amazing childhood memories we had together. They didn't even talk about how people could join Andrea's Angels in order to find her. There's so much about Andrea that I wanted to be shared that was completely overlooked. I feel like they just took anything negative that I said. That's what they chose to put on there. They didn't put anything on there that I said out of love. So that was really hard. That all the great things Andrea's done for humanity was left off.
Absolutely. Erin, if you want to, you can send me some pictures of your childhood or memories you have, and I include that in the video. Also, links to Andrea's Angels.
Yeah, I can do that. I'd love to. Looking through old pictures is one thing that brings me comfort still. It just makes me think of happier, simpler times in life for all of us.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I've got to go. I just want to tell you thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Sorry, my phone was in and out.
No problem.
Thank you for having us. And Erin, I will talk to you soon.
See you soon.
Thank you, Ted. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, you guys, I think we should let Erin go.
Yeah, mom duties are calling.
Yeah, I'm so happy and glad you were on here.
Thank you for having me, and thanks everyone for watching.
Yeah, and we definitely do that sometime again,
Yes, please.
You can do it like every month or every 2 months, just to put Andrea's name back into the minds of people,
I agree completely.
Right, guys? Thank you so much for watching. Spread the word. Andrea's still missing. She's a mom. She's a good person. She's just, her family needs her back. Everybody needs her back. Her children need her back. So, and if you can help in any way, I put the link up one more time for the Facebook group. Just join. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And also, if you know something, or if you know somebody who knows something, you can also send me an email. Anonymous, no problem at all, or call the tip line anonymous, also no problem if you're scared to say something, but somebody must know something.
Yeah, that's right. It can always be anonymous. That's
absolutely
exactly right.
All right. Okay, you guys, then have a good evening. Thank you so much, Erin, for being here. Really appreciate it. And let's hope for the best, and we stay in touch.
Sounds
See you
good.
later,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye-bye. Bye.